It reflects what we've done, but I'm not sure now what the vote is, whether or not it reflects the majority opinion.
I agree with that concern.
If you're talking about the vote that was done in January, there is no question that Kristen was a full member at that time. The vote stands.
Well, except there's a signature page.
The signature page will be modified because she resigned today.
Okay.
Yeah, Dave, I just take issue with the whole thing. I mean, you're talking about a process that's been tainted for a while now by someone who wasn't on this commission. You can tell me all you want. She was a resident here until March. She sold her home in December. It was on the market in November. Her business was closed. Her husband has changed his residency, and it appears in the election record that because he moved, they're not divorced. Please don't try and put a face on this that it was all legit. She was a swing vote, as demonstrated in the last meeting. She was a swing vote in the last meeting on 4 different votes. Okay, this is an engineered outcome. To put my signature on something like this would be, in my view, to basically perpetrate, miscarriage here. And I'm not gonna do that. I know you feel great about it, Phil. I don't. In fact, I feel sick about it. I disagree with you entirely about the need to reconsider the recommendation. Joan has just been seated. That is entirely appropriate. And Dave, that last meeting, when you had an obligation as the chairman of this commission to tell us clearly what it was, what communication you had with the prosecutor's office. By the end of that conversation, what you began with, which is he said it was perfectly fine, which I think was misleading, changed to he didn't render opinion. We can't go to the county prosecutor and ask for an opinion. You can do that.
Actually,
and so we rely upon you.
Actually, I cannot go to the county prosecutor to ask an opinion. That is,
but we can't do it.
Right.
Right, and so we can't go and do it. We rely upon you to communicate what you were told clearly, accurately, transparently. I don't believe you met that obligation. I also believe that by ignoring in a prior meeting, basically 2 lawyers sitting on the study commission with between them something like 60 years of litigation experience in government, by ignoring what we were saying about violations of open meeting law and just pushing forward like we're doing tonight, you just pushed over it. And as it turned out, apparently the prosecuting attorney had concerns too. We had to have another meeting. To me, these are 2 things. I don't need cause. I can do it without cause under bylaws. I don't think you basically should occupy the position of chairman of this commission, even if this is the last meeting. Okay? And anybody, I mean, there are people on this commission who sit on other boards and commissions. If you think this behavior by our chairman, right, if you think this is what our face of Kootenai County government should be to the public, this is what it should look like, I would have to disagree with you. This is not what it should look like. Is this how you operate on planning boards? Is this how you operate in the airport board? Is this how any of you operate in your other boards? Because if you do, I don't think you should be, still on those boards, because this board right here, I don't think has been run in a transparent, fair, or open way. And you can differ with me on it, but we know better. You should not be sitting here as chairman. You should step down.
Thank you.
Is that just posturing, or are you making a motion?
Would you like me to make a motion to that effect?
It's up to you.
I think you've disqualified yourself as a matter of law by violating the law twice with respect to open meeting law, several counts of violations, as well as what has happened with this whole residence or non-residence issue. And I really think that you should just do the right thing and step down. But if not, I think you should step down. Yes.
I'll make the motion.
Fine. Make the motion.
I make the motion for Dave Botting to step down as chair.
Second?
It's an emergency issue due to the circumstances of this commission and what's been going on.
Nancy, can you?
Action items cannot be added to the agenda. I'm sorry.
There is supposed to be a mechanism for emergency.
This is an emergency, and this is in the nature of an injunction of stop violating the law. And so it is an emergency, because I don't believe for 1 minute what you've recounted to me tonight is your communication or whatever you've received from the prosecutor's office about Kristen Wing's status. I don't believe it for a minute, not after last week. But you have no credibility. I think, the easiest thing would be for you to just step down as chairman. I don't think it's appropriate. I don't do this for fun.
I'm not going to step down. If you want to go to we can't go to a motion.
We're in the midst of a motion. It's an emergency motion.
You have a motion on the floor, I believe.
I think this is a procedural item that would take precedence
Over what?
over the consideration of the final report.
Nancy?
I see no immediate harm, no imminent harm for the emergency. If this meeting were to take place next week, you would still have the same issue. So it's not that it's emergent for tonight.
So we
If
put
you
it on the
wanted to
agenda
table
for
it
next
until
week.
next week, you could do so.
So then I'm going to move that we table the rest of tonight's agenda pending our ability to consider such a item.
I second.
Okay,
I'd like to speak to it if I could, please.
certainly.
The alternatives should be included also.
I totally disagree with what I've heard coming from one of our members tonight. He has been here, and so have I. Kristen has been here, and the votes are all conducted. I believe Dave Barding has done a good job. He has allowed everyone at this table to speak through every meeting. You could say what you wanted to. You could make comments, additions, and that was all done properly. See, I'm in here now and trying to just distort the whole situation of what's going on, to delay it, to knock it off from being able to go forward. I think it's disgraceful. And I will not vote, and I will not vote, and I will not vote for the motion.
Bill, you're a disgrace. Thank you. Wow. Yeah, thanks, Conrad.
Bill, we have a difference of opinion. You might think it's disgraceful. I don't. I have two eyes. I've sat here, I've kept my mouth shut for months about this out of respect for the position of chair. Okay? This started back in September with the article you wrote in the press that you signed as commissioner, but not really in your official capacity. And it lent the impression that this was something from the study commission. None of us were consulted about that article where you went after two people and basically declared them ignoramuses. It's not right to treat people like that. That was the beginning, and I should have stepped up, and I'm still irked that I didn't do that and call you out then. And I have waited patiently to say, I'm not going to do this, but when it comes to open meeting violations, open meeting law violations, of which there were several counts, and you push right past it because you want to get a result. And this whole thing with Kristen and her residency status and whether she should be sitting on this, it's so calculating, Dave. Every agenda is calculating. I know, and you're smiling at me because you know it's true. And to me, I disagree with you.
What's your agenda, sir?
You should be in prison.
Stop. Please stop from the audience. We're having a dialogue here, and this is my opinion. Phil, you can have yours, but I'm sorry. I've sat here and kept my mouth shut for all these months out of respect for the position of chair, but when I see violations of law at the last two meetings, I am sorry. I'm going to speak up. He does not have my confidence as chairman, and he should step down.
Yes.
Right.
We have a motion on the floor to table the agenda, I believe. We have a motion and a second. Vote in favor of tabling the agenda? You're voting to table the agenda, Joan? The agenda is tabled. This meeting, we call an adjournment.